The first thing out of her mouth wasn't a hello, wasn't a smile, wasn't anything close to care. It was a smirk, a little tilt of the chin, and then those words that hung in the air like poison. You came alone, figures. You people always do. And just like that, the exam room with its lavender scent and polished equipment turned into something colder than steel. But let me back you up a bit because mornings don't usually start with venom. That day had actually been beautiful, the kind of spring morning that makes you think maybe the world is softer than it really is. In Riverton, a small southern city built on glass towers and old brick magnolia trees leaned over the sidewalks like they were trying to shade the people walking beneath. And there was Maya Johnson, 6 months pregnant, standing outside the most exclusive women's clinic in town. She wore a pale blue dress that hugged her belly, a tote bag neatly organized on her shoulder, hair pulled back clean. She looked like grace itself, but that clinic wasn't built for grace, it was built for status. A place where polished marble floors and valet parking whispered, you belong or you don't. The women who streamed in wore leggings that cost more than Maya's entire wardrobe, sunglasses, with designer logos at the temples, chattering about weekend lake houses and country club fundraisers. No one looked at them twice. But when Maya stepped forward, it was like the whole building tilted, waiting to decide whether she was allowed in. She inhaled slow. Her husband, Jordan, had promised he'd meet her, but he worked with the Justice Department and emergencies never respected calendars. He texted an hour earlier saying he had rushed to make it, but for now, she had to walk in alone. And this appointment mattered. It was their first 4D scan, the first time they'd see the baby's face. She wanted him there so badly, but she also knew life rarely waits. Inside, the air smelled of lemon polish, the kind of cold luxury that makes you feel like you should whisper. The receptionist barely lifted her eyes before letting them drag down Maya's dress, her bag, her skin, then back down to her keyboard, like checking her in was a personal inconvenience. Name she asked flat, Maya Johnson, 10:30 with Dr. Whitford. Maya replied soft but steady, a pause too long. For Dr. Whitford, the receptionist repeated like the name didn't belong in Maya's mouth. Then a clipboard shoved across the counter. Fill this out, no eye contact, no warmth, just that silent message, you don't belong here. Maya sat down, pen moving with neat precision, even though her stomach fluttered. Two women across the room whispered behind purses, one clutching her handbag tighter. Maya kept her chin high, filling out forms she'd filled out 1,000 times in life loans, licenses, mortgages, every one of them, a reminder she had to prove she deserved a seat at the table. A nurse finally called her name. No smile, no hello, just a clipboard and a door. Down the hall, they walked past photographs of glowing white mothers with swaddled babies. None of them looked like Maya. Then came the exam room quiet lavender antiseptic. She perched on the table, rubbing her belly, whispering, "Daddy's on his way, baby." Just a little longer. The door opened. Dr. Lindsay Whitford swept in tall, sharp coat, so starched it looked like it could cut glass. Not a greeting, not a single ounce of warmth. Just a cool appraisal. "So, you're Maya Johnson?" "Yes," Maya answered, sitting straighter. "We're here for the 4D scan." No response, just that long, dismissive look like she was judging the cut of Maya's dress at a yard sale. "Then you came alone. My husband's on his way," Maya said carefully. "He works federal law. Got delayed." A smirk. "Of course he did." Maya blinked. "Excuse me? Let me guess you don't know who the father is. Or maybe he left when he realized it wasn't his problem. You people always have a pattern." Her heart slammed against her ribs. She stood, fists clenched. "That is completely inappropriate. I made this appointment weeks ago. I came here with respect, and I expect the same." Whitford leaned in, her voice now a hiss. "You people are always so respectful until you want to make a scene. Not today, not in my clinic." Maya grabbed her bag. "I'm leaving. I don't have to stand here and be insulted." But the doctor was already patting her wrist, eyes flashing. "My Cartier watch. It was right here. And now it's not." The accusation cut deeper than any insult. Maya shook her head, stunned. I haven't touched anything. I already called security, Whitford said coolly, walking out. And just like that, Maya was no longer a patient. She was a suspect. The door burst open again. Two security guards, both white, both carrying that casual arrogance of men who know nobody will question them. Miss Johnson, one said, like he was reading off a police report. You'll need to come with us. Missing property. I didn't take anything. Maya pleated one hand protectively over her belly. We'll sort it out downstairs, the younger one said, snapping gum. Standard protocol. She wanted to scream, but she held steady. I'm pregnant. 6 months. I don't feel safe being escorted without my husband. They didn't care. One reached for her elbow. She yanked back. Don't touch me. But they herded her anyway down a hidden corridor into a windowless room with a single plastic chair bolted to the floor. They took her phone shut. The door left her staring at buzzing fluorescent lights and cold tile. Her stomach tightened, stress pressing into her ribs. The baby kicked sharp. She stroked her belly, whispering, breathe in. 1, 2, 3. Out. 1, 2, 3. The younger guard leaned against the wall, watching her with mock concern. You all right, he chuckled. She said nothing. Her only hope was that little red light in the corner of the security camera. Maybe, just maybe, someone was watching. And someone was. Because upstairs, the glass doors of the clinic slid open, and in walked Jordan Johnson. 6'2" suit in charcoal gray, a small badge glinting on his lapel, the Department of Justice seal. He didn't raise his voice, didn't rush. He just walked with the kind of calm that made the air itself nervous. He stopped at the reception desk. I'm looking for my wife, Maya Johnson. 10:30 appointment. Where is she? The receptionist stammered. I think security was called. She's downstairs. Jordan leaned in, his voice steady, not loud, but impossible to ignore. Take me there. Minutes later, he pushed into that windowless room, closed the door behind him, looked at the guards with a stillness that could cut glass. Explain to me, he said evenly, why you've detained my wife 6 months pregnant, without evidence, without counsel, without access to her phone. Maya's eyes filled as he knelt by her. I'm here, he whispered. You're safe. Then he rose, all calm, gone. Names now, the guards fumbled. We were following protocol. Dr. Whitford reported. With what evidence Jordan cut, she said her watch rolled the footage. His voice was low, lethal. They did. The screen showed Maya entering the room, sitting quietly, never touching a thing. Later, Whitford storming out, patting her wrist, the watch still gleaming on the tray. She never touched it, the older guard muttered. And yet you detained her, Jordan said coldly. Denied her phone, denied her rights, stripped her dignity. That's not protocol, that's prejudice. The younger guard tried to salvage. We didn't know she was married to someone like Jordan's eyes snapped to him. Someone like what? The man went silent. And then, a new voice. A young nurse, Maria, stepped into the doorway, hands trembling, but brave. I heard Dr. Whitford. She said, you can't trust the ones who come alone. I didn't speak then, but I will now. That cracked the silence. Hours later, Maya and Jordan sat in a bright boardroom across from Whitford and the hospital directors. Ethan laid out everything, the footage, the nurse's testimony, even a buried complaint from 2 years back by another black patient. Whitford tried to spin it, said she was misunderstood, said she felt threatened. Maya leaned forward, voice steady as stone. You accused me not because of what I did, but because of how I look. And you nearly made me a criminal for daring to walk into your clinic pregnant and alone. The board had no choice. Whitford was suspended her badge, taken her coat, folded away. For once, the silence in the room wasn't dismissal. It was consequence. 2 weeks later, Maya stood at a small podium outside the clinic. Cameras pointed, press leaning in. She didn't dress up, didn't need to. She spoke plain, her voice carrying weight without shouting. I came here for care. I left with trauma. And I'm not the only one. Black women across this country face suspicion instead of service, dismissal instead of dignity. I'm not here for revenge. I'm here for reform because I deserve to walk into a place meant for healing without preparing for harm. She didn't cry. She didn't tremble. She just told the truth. And behind her, Jordan stood not in front, not beside, but behind her, solid, quiet proof that she wasn't alone. They mocked a black woman, Maya finished. They mocked a mother. But now they'll remember me for how I stood. The cameras clicked. The crowd murmured, and she stepped down, hand in Jordan's. Now let me ask you, what do you think was suspension enough, or should people like Dr. Whitford never practice again? Have you ever witnessed someone judged before they even opened their mouth? Drop your thoughts in the comments because stories like Maya's aren't just stories, they're mirrors. And sometimes the reflection isn't easy to face.